Всем привет! Today we continue working with the Russian cases, and we are still very early in this playlist. And by the way, it's a playlist with multiple videos that I suggest you proceed through step by step. So in this one, we're still wrapping our mind around how do cases work at the conceptual levels. We're not looking at the endings yet. We're not looking at like multiple contexts. We will. So for now, we're just gonna look at the three basic contexts for the dative case. Okay, let's start. Let me switch the screen.
If you like it, please click like. If it's useful, drop a line. If you love it, hit subscribe. Like me, подпишись и комментарий напиши.
Okay, here's my screen. Today we are working with the dative case. And we already worked through nominative and genitive, so our next case is dative. So the very first context for the dative case is kind of like this tricky thing that's called the indirect object that is sometimes kind of tricky for students to understand. Now, if you're very good with like grammar terms, you can look up intransitive verbs in Russian and kind of like read about it from like a more serious grammatical point of view, because indirect object is kind of goes with a lot of the intransitive verbs in Russian. Now, if all these grammatical terms are scary to you, let's just focus on the indirect object. So here how I explain it to students. Indirect object is someone or sometimes something that receives the and kind of like receives something from the action that the subject does and kind of like benefits from it. And when I say benefits, don't take it at like the face value, like something beneficial comes from it. Might not, but theoretically it could. So let me show you the examples. So here I have Я пишу брату письмо. I'm writing my brother a letter. And here I have two nouns. Also one pronoun, I, but like I'm writing, so I am the subject of a sentence, and then I'm writing my brother a letter. What is it that I'm writing? What is being written? A letter. This is a direct object, and we'll talk about it in the next video when we talk about accusative. So because it's being written, the brother is not being written. The brother is somewhere in the future benefiting from receiving the letter that I am writing in this moment. I don't know if it makes sense, but it's basically the action is happening and somebody will benefit from it, not in this specific sentence, but theoretically speaking in the future. So that's the concept of a benefit. Or here I have Mama готовит детям суп. Mom makes kids soup, or mom is making soup for her kids. And I said for, and those of you who know a little bit more Russian, we also know in Russian we have a preposition для, means for the benefit of someone. That actually goes with the genitive case. And that's another way to express the same idea that we can express with the indirect object in dative. And in Russian language, you know, the native speakers, we tend to conserve our energy. We usually tend to go for the shorter way of expressing things, which will be the dative. So yes, I can say «Мама готовит суп для детей», but it's more natural for me to say «Мама готовит детям суп», where I use kids as the recipients of the mom cooking soup. And that makes it dative. I don't know if I'm making sense, but anyways, and here is where we can say like, do kids really benefit from eating a soup? As a Russian mom, I say they totally will benefit from it. It's not the point. It's just like somebody's performing an action that can potentially benefit some, because that action is directed to or for somebody else. That makes that word an indirect object of a sentence. And sometimes it's still tricky to wrap your mind around the concept of indirect object. That's why when we are going to be looking at the, more context for dative, and we'll look at this one again, I'll say sometimes it's easier to remember specific verbs at the beginners, at the beginning stages of learning Russian that go with dative. It's somebody we write to, it's somebody we read to, it's somebody we give something to, it's somebody we call, somebody we help, because like we give a call to somebody, we give our help to somebody, and so on. Okay, so that's a little bit about the indirect object. Let's move on to the next context. And the next context is something there where I think the non-native speakers go, whoa, what? And this is also something when I see even like advanced students sometimes slip and make a mistake, because it's like so hard to wrap your mind around this context, which reads, whoever is so and so many years old is going to be in dative. Now, in English, it's very simple. I am 21. My brother is 23. My sister is 35. I, my brother, my sister are the subjects of the sentence because I am 21. Who is 21? I am. Who is 23? My brother is. But in Russian, we apply a different logic both to the language and to how we kind of like think about it. If you know a little bit about the Russian culture, you know that Russians are kind of fatalistic. We'll believe in fate. We believe that something's basically happening, and so to us, on the big level. So here we can apply the same logic to explain why Russians use dative here, because we don't say I am 21. Literally, Russians say there is 21 years to me, or like given to me. Моему брату 23. So my brother is 23. My brother is going to be in dative because there is 23 years given to my brother. Моей сестре 35. My sister is 35. My sister is going to be in dative because she is given the gift of being 35. And again, we don't think about it like that. It's just how I explain it to my students, so it's easier to remember. So whoever is so and so many years old is going to be in the dative case. Okay, let's move on to the next context. And that context is when we use dative case after we use the preposition k in Russian. And it means to or towards. And it can be just basically when you're walking towards something, but don't enter it. For instance, I'm walking towards the library because that's where we meet, but I'm not going to enter the library. So that would be k plus library. Library in Russian, biblioteka, will be in the dative case. But where we also use this context is, as you can see here, going to someone's place. Now, remember when we talked about genitive and we looked at the possession with the apostrophe s, I said except for someone's name or someone's place. So right now we're going to look at this exception of someone's place. So when in English you say, I'm going to somebody's place, you often say, I'm going to, and then the name of the person with an apostrophe s, implying the place. And sometimes you even say the place. So you can say, oh, tonight I'm going to my sister's place. And sometimes you actually will say, oh, tonight I'm going to my sister's place, meaning you're going where your sister resides, where she lives. Or I'm going to the doctor's. I'm going to the doctor's place of business. And that same logic will apply to Russian when we think about it. Just remember, whenever you say, I'm going to the doctor, apostrophe s, I'm going to my sisters, to my brothers, and so on. When in English you would use apostrophe s, in this specific context, it's not going to be possession and genitive. It's going to be k plus dative. And in Russian, we don't need to say the equivalent of like place, which sometimes happens in English. In Russian, we just say k plus the person and dative. So here I have, мы идем к доктору. We're going to the doctor's, meaning where the doctor's business resides. Я еду к сестре. I'm going, or I'm driving, to my sister's place, meaning where she lives. And sometimes in Russian, we have to say, oh, actually, I'm going to my sister's work. In that specific context, it still will be k plus dative of the word sister, and then на работу. Я еду к сестре на работу. Like we will add this information. Just k plus сестра in dative means to her place, where she usually resides and lives. Okay, we will stop here, and let me tell you what to do for the next time. So now, as always, take a look at the next case, and that's going to be accusative. Kind of like try to wrap your mind around it. And here you'll see direct objects. So see if you understand it from examples. And also work through what we worked with today, dative case. So put something in the comments in English, a sentence, and put the word that will be in dative if and when you translate it into Russian in caps, in big letters. So for example, something like, hey, give him some money. In that sentence, there is a dative, or there is dative, the context for dative. So find that word and put it into caps, or come up with your own example and decide, I think this word is going to be in dative because we worked through these contexts, and I will give you some feedback. Okay, thank you for watching. Keep learning. Пока-пока.